Hi, Mrs. Spooler's class. I'm here to go over this presentation of Admiral Chester W. Nimitz. He was born February 24th, 1884, in Fredericksburg, Texas. His childhood was very rough because his father died before he was born, and this resulted in his grandfather being in the father's role in Chester's early life. And in 1890, Chester's mother had married her late husband's younger brother, William Nimitz. He managed the St. Charles Hotel in Kerrville. So Chester eventually became the chief handyman of that, and Nimitz determined to seek some military experience, so he went to the U.S. Naval Academy, where he became 7th in his class and started his military career. Education and career. Chester Nimitz went through school and went to U.S. Naval Academy, where he graduated 7th in his class at the age of 19, and Chester became chief handyman of St. Charles Hotel for a bit, and then that was right before he went off to the academy, but didn't spend lots of time there doing business. His family, in 1913, Nimitz married Catherine Vance Freeman, and they eventually had 3 daughters and 1 son. His father was Chester Bernard, and his mother was Anna Nimitz. His father died before he was born, which I said earlier. Go back real quick. That's Chester Nimitz, and these are his 2 sons, that's his daughter, and that's his wife right there. His personality was very quiet and courageous. Naval historian Robert Love writes that Nimitz possessed a sense of inner balance and calm that steadied those around him. He also had the ability to pick able subordinates and the courage to let them do their jobs without interference, which was pretty neat. Nimitz played a major role in World War II. He was commander-in-chief, and he was in the Pacific Fleet. He also commanded air, land, and sea forces. He was one of the most important people in the war, and was also leading U.S. Navy authority on submarines. Admirable traits. Chester Nimitz had grit, which is really something you need to admire about someone. He didn't just have a little bit of grit, he had a lot of it. Chester was a leader willing to do anything to win that war, and he really showed it. He had many roles in the war and excelled at all of them, which is very hard to do. In all, Chester Nimitz gave it all for our country, which showed that he was willing to work harder than mostly anyone else. So, he had a big weakness, though. Chester Nimitz suffered from congestive heart failure, which caused many troubles in his life and career. He had an inability to exercise to his full potential because of this heart failure, and it caused a reduced ability to exercise, so it was harder to exercise for him, harder to stay in shape. He had swelling in his legs and feet, and he was weak and fatigued all the time. So, yeah. And he also had a shortness of breath when he lied down, and all this is basically another hurdle in his life. So, that was tough to have that. It's a big weakness in his life. What can we learn from Chester Nimitz? We can learn things from Chester Nimitz, but there's one thing that really is important to learn, and that is with hard work and grit, you can work your way up to anything you want. Many people lack grit, including myself, but this is one thing I learned to work on after doing this project about Charles Nimitz. So, my overall impression of him is a very positive impression. He seems like a solid man, and I learned a lot from him. He also gave a lot for our country, and that is something I can really respect about him. So overall, he was a great influence on many people and will be remembered throughout history. And last but not least, the quotation, "Uncommon valor was a common virtue." Chester Nimitz. So that's him again. So that's the end of my video, class.